Yo, what's good everyone? So obviously my last video that I literally uploaded like last night or yesterday, it was uploaded while I was meditating and why I fell asleep. So I left YouTube open. Obviously that was about why I feel like I've contradicted myself or been a hypocrite. And obviously, like I said in that video, I was filming one before when my iCloud storage got full and I couldn't say everything I wanted, so I'm going to do it in parts rather than like the hypocrisy thing combined with like obviously why I was crying, because obviously I posted a video of me being upset. I've cried 4 times this month, the 4th, the 5th, the 25th and the 27th, and now it's the 30th. So the 4th and the 5th, the main pinnacle while I was crying was obviously my dad. I have not seen my dad in 9 years, nearly 10, because I'm about to be 21 and I haven't seen him since I was 11. So it's about to be 10 years. I lived with him and my mum from obviously when I was born until I was 9. And then I lived with my dad until I was 9 and 11. Then I've obviously lived with my mum since I've been 11, or like I've been down here with my mum at least, 'cause I lived with my nan for a little bit. But the main pinnacle of that was because I miss him and I want to see him despite everything that has happened when I was living at that house. So there was a lot of shit, a lot of trauma that happened and a lot of problems. But despite all that, I still want to see him because it's just that natural feeling of just missing and loving your dad. You place more value in something you don't see or have that often. That's why, for example, if someone you haven't seen for a while, you'll miss them compared to someone you're with all the time. That's just natural because you're placing more value within them because you don't see them. The reason why people like place value in like a good looking physique is because you obviously had to do a lot of hard work to get that physique. You have to eat right, you have to sleep right, you have to do training. If you see a really cool car, why does it look cool? Because all like the other cars that people have are just normal, so it stands out. So it's like you place value in that because you don't see it that often. So that was the main pinnacle of that time, with a collective of just my overall positioning and stuff. And then the second time, so on the 25th of this month, so 25th of July, so the 4th and 5th was obviously just about my dad, because I met my granddad for the first time. He's dad's dad, but I've never met my granddad before that because obviously I lost contact with my dad and that was just something that wasn't on my mind. And obviously he was in prison before, so my dad, I feel like from what I've heard from my granddad, that like he resents him. So obviously they don't speak, so he wouldn't want me to be introduced to him. But obviously now I live with my mum, that's when my granddad got out of prison, and obviously that was something I wasn't thinking about or was really aware of until obviously I grew up a little bit. And it was obviously, like I said, a collective about my positioning. And then the second time on the 25th, the main pinnacle of that was my positioning and the struggles that I'm going through or have been through. And then on the 27th, it just crept up on me again because I've been so focused on my positioning and my problems in terms of like where I am at and where I'm going, and also my dad, that I neglected the problems I'm going through in my household when it comes to obviously my mum and stepdad, when they just have arguments and stuff like that, and me just making sure everyone's alright, trying to de-escalate it. It's just, that's obviously taken a toll on me as well, but I was so focused on them two that crept up on me. So it's like, if we dive into the positioning, because like I said, it's a collective of things, and this is the point I want to talk about first. So I've been looking for work for 2 and maybe a half years, just been applying for jobs. I've done it in person, I've done it online, direct website, through links, references, referrals, like so many different things. I've not had a single interview. Like, I've used different apps. The main source I've used, though, has been Indeed, which I know a lot of people say isn't that good, but I've tried every different thing. And then I'll go in person, and they're like, no, go online. And then I go online, and I've already applied for that job like 4 times. But, you know, it's like, I believe everything happens for a reason, everything's in alignment, but it still can just naturally get to you and grind on your gears. I understand that that's a part of my beliefs, but it's like, I'm trying to figure out, why would it take 2.5 years for me to get a job? If everything happens for a reason, what is the reason for my progress being delayed? So then I thought, because I'm on universal credit, I get £300 a month. They help me look for work, just pay me to look for work. But I was already doing that anyway, so I thought, let me at least get paid for it. So I'm thinking, do I start a business with that £300? Do I try and like reinvest it? And then I'm like, £300 in the long run from what I'm planning to do may not be enough. And it's like, it's not as stable because my parents don't work. And it's like, if I spend that money then I need food and water and stuff like that, then it's kind of like, you know, it's a bit of an iffy situation. So with the money that I get from the universal credit, I literally just spend it on clothes, food, water on my girlfriend. I know you could say you could definitely reinvest it. I definitely could, but I feel like me, with what I want to do, I want to have a more stable income and more income. So I have a little bit of money, of course, but it's not like I'm earning it. It's not like I'm independent in terms of, I'm using the skill to get that money. I'm just sitting down applying for jobs, which I was doing anyway, and getting paid. I'm not going to complain about the money I'm getting, but it's not only the money that's the problem. It's obviously like the independent thing. So this is why I'm talking about my overall positioning, because yes, money is a big part that can branch out into other goals, but I had all these ideas, like I said, that I wasn't acting on, because it's like the independent thing. It's like, despite how much I love myself and I was happy and I was doing all these things that I love to improve myself and how much I've progressed, I still found it so hard to go and do stuff or talk to people, just to do these things. So it's like, I want to start boxing. My friend said, have you even looked at a boxing club? I was like, no. Like, you've had all this time to think, from your meditation, your mirror gazing, your sun gazing, sitting in your room staring at the ceiling or walls or your mirror, and you haven't even looked at where the nearest club is. And he said most of them are free for the first like training session or whatever. And even if it's not, I can honestly just pay for it and then just see if I want to do that, see if I like it. But it's like, I didn't do that because it's like, I was nervous and scared. It's like, I feel like I naturally need guidance. So I need someone there to just make me feel more at ease. But I've never said that because I've always tried to fake it till you make it type thing. Because I've made a lot of progress, because I was so broken beforehand, where I was so insecure and hated myself, there was so much more work to be done. And there is now, but it's got to the point where I'm here. The last 2 years I've been applying for jobs. My routine hasn't changed that much. And I've only picked up a few like other habits that I've stick consistently with. So it's making me discredit my old progress because I'm so focused on the new progress. So it's like I'm being hard on myself. But I'm being hard on myself with no action being taken. So you can see how it's overwhelming. It's good if you're hard on yourself and maybe beat yourself up just a little bit just to get yourself to do something, if that's your way of like motivating you. But if I'm sitting there being like hard on myself but then I'm too scared to actually take the actionable step, it's just going to overwhelm me more. So yesterday, for example, I started dancing just because I want to express myself in different ways, because obviously a lot of people have trauma and they find it hard to do things, and they're a lot more rigid than others, like in their body or within their voice. I'm an introvert, so that's why I want to try out music to help me express my voice. That's why I like doing content, talk to a camera, you know. So with the dancing, it's like, just be free in it. You just do whatever. I was doing like whatever moves, and it actually felt nice, just moving about, like just doing random shit. You know, when you're a kid, you just sit there, you spin around, you're a lot more curious, you're jumping around, doing all this and that. It's like, we neglect that. I've got a song on the way, by the way, called Past Self, to do with that stuff. So if you're interested, keep an eye out, because I'm going to obviously put on this channel. But yeah, anyway, so I added that to my routine, and that's something I'm going to do. Instead of, oh, I need to go to a dancing club. So it's like, I want to do maybe like a meditation course, teach people how to meditate. I want to be like a photographer, or like take my own pictures and be a model as well. Or it's like, I want to obviously sing. I want to do like gym content and be a PT. And then it's like, I want to do all this different stuff, but I'm not acting on any of it because I have so much thoughts. And it is still amazing to talk to yourself, and I'd still preach about that, but don't spend too much time alone, because you get in the trap of overthinking, which is what I've done. The meditation part isn't the problem. These things do help, but it's the fact that I'm spending too much time alone that's the problem. So it's making me think about so much stuff in the future and the past and the present. And it's like, my overall positioning, no matter how hard I've tried, I haven't got a job. I just still feel like this innocent kid within me, despite all the progress and the confidence that I've built. I know I need to do bigger and better things, because now I've got that foundation, I need to go even higher and do bigger and better things that I find really and truly hard, which is the true discipline. And that's why I say people don't have discipline, because when it's something that's really, really, really hard that you know you don't want to do, most people won't. But if there's a little bit of ounce of you wanting to do it, that can be enough to carry you to do it. But that doesn't mean it's like discipline, because you already have an ounce of you wanting to do it. I've already done a video about discipline anyway, but my overall positioning is like, it's just all the progress that I've done, I'm discrediting it because I'm focusing on the future progress. You know what I mean? So it's like, that obviously got me upset, the stuff to do with my dad, like the trauma I went through when I was there, and obviously just missing him. And it's just, obviously, want that natural connection. And then, obviously, the last time I cried, which was the 27th, and now it's the 30th, so like 2-3 days ago, I was in town with my best friend, his girlfriend, and another friend of mine, and we were just talking about like stuff that's happened, like house problems, or stuff that's happening now with like arguments or conflicts and stuff like that. And it just got to me, because I've been so focused on other stuff that I've not been focused on that, and then I started crying. So these are obviously a collective of reasons why I was crying, and it's just like, you know, I need to let this stuff out. If I need to be, or if I want to be viewed as strong, I need to express these emotions with full confidence and do it, because everybody will judge, you know, of course. But it's like, nobody wakes up when they're born and, you know, they're like a sigma, like an alpha male. You know what I mean? I need to trial and error. I need to experience these negatives to push into the positives, you know what I mean? This is something that's really like opened up my eyes. I feel a lot more comfortable expressing my sadness. And whenever I do let it out, I just let it out. When I was on my mushroom trip, I let it out in front of my girlfriend, her sister, my 2 best friends. It's like, when it needs to come out, I'm not going to hold it in, despite who it is. And then one time when I cried about like missing my dad, the second time, it was to my best friend and his dad. And it's like, when it needs to come out, I just don't care who's there. So, it obviously needs to come out if I'm just doing it despite who's there, you know what I mean? Like, I was actually crying in the town centre. And this isn't, oh, special me, pity me. No, I'm not special. People have gone through worse shit. And I saw my last video, I felt I was, like, being a hypocrite, because I'm not special. I'm only going to be special from what I do from here and how I use these emotions and how I act. If I'm just like, oh man, my life, I'm not going to get anywhere, and I know that. I'm so lucky to be here. People are so lucky to be here. It's like, you win the race of all these fucking sperm cells. That alone, you are so lucky to be here. And not for like, to brag or anything, but I had cancer when I was born. So I'm even more lucky to be here. So I can't be just living my life just fucking soaping, like sobbing about. I mean, just like this, you know what I mean? That's another reason why I didn't want to let these like emotions out, because it's like, I've experienced life when I nearly could have died, and I'm gonna sit here and cry. You know what I mean? That's another like thought I had, but now I feel so much better. I probably will cry again because these emotions are sad, they're heavy at the moment. So what? So be it, I've accepted it. To be more comfortable than I already am in my own skin and express myself to the fullest degree, I need to express these feelings and emotions that I feel because I am human. But it took, jeez, it took me a while to come to terms with that because you don't want to be seen as weak and stuff like that. But hey, people always judge, people always care, people always have something to say. It's like I've played PlayStation 6 times in the last 2 months, and there's people on there, pardon me, that I've told like personal stuff about. Like I'm an open person. How I talk about my stuff on YouTube, I'll talk about it on like social media. I'll talk about it to people in real life. I talk to people on PlayStation about my stuff because it's like I'm just an open person. I know a lot of people say being open is like, oh, it's vulnerability and it's a weakness, and like people can use it against you, which is true. That's obviously why you gotta like, obviously be careful who you tell. So like, if I see someone at the bus stop, I ain't gonna run over to them and be like, oh my god, when I was born, this happened to me. Of course not. You have to have that mutual connection first. You know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, I obviously posted that video of me crying, and obviously I get people gonna judge and have different thoughts. But there was one comment that really got to me. It was someone that I play with on PlayStation. And I'm not gonna lie, it actually bothered me. Obviously, I see these people as acquaintances, not friends, because I don't know them in real life. I don't have that connection. They're just online behind a screen. Like I just met them and I vibed to a game. There's nothing deeper to it. He was like, "Oh, this is kind of embarrassing to your pride." I said, "What's the definition of pride?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't even know." So it's like, how is it breaking like my pride if you don't even know what pride means? So it kind of didn't make sense. And then he was kind of like, because I was appealing what he said, and he was like, like you're in denial, and he was like, I'm not trying to clown you or anything. But it's like, I'm not trying to clown you, but before I clown you, it's like, that's disrespectful. It's like, you obviously know the stuff that I've been through because I've told you on PlayStation. This is stuff that you've not gone through. And if you have, you haven't told me that you've been through stuff similar. And it's like, if I'm playing with these people, I'm going to be talking about stuff, you know what I mean? That's how you build connections, is by being authentic. Obviously, there's levels to it. Day one, you're not going to be like, when I was a kid, this happened to me, like I said. But it's that mutual connection where it stems, and then you be authentic, you grow, you know what I mean? I know I say I don't see them as friends and their acquaintances, and it's not that deep. But despite that, I'm still going to be honest to build somewhat of a relationship, whether it's like a friendship or online one. So I would talk about things like that, and he knew that, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's embarrassing." It took me a lot of power to let them emotions out and post it to everyone. I understand it's not normal when it is weird, and I did agree with him on that. But that's why, in return, it gives me more power, because the people who sit there and judge will never do that. I said, look, it's coming from a place of insecurity because you don't even show your face. You know what I mean? I don't even know what you look like. And he saw it as like, oh, you're in denial, like, oh, you don't see what I'm saying. I do see what he's saying, and it's like, I knew stuff like this was gonna happen from me letting it out, but it still just got to me. I cared enough to where it bothered me, but I didn't care enough to keep him added on PlayStation, because to me, it's just like a voice that I hear on the headset. But I spoke to someone, one of my friends in the car, and I said, is that petty? And he said, yeah, because it's like someone so relevant that you don't have like a deep connection with, and that's like hurt you. It's like their opinion shouldn't really care if you don't have a connection that deep. And I said, that is true, but it just still got to me. And I felt like if I would have kept them added, it would have been self-disrespect, because it's like I've kept them added, said that, and then not delete them. Or I wouldn't have said it, and then I'm not having any respect for myself because I'm not actually saying anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not trying to clown you, before he like tries and clowns me. It's like, it's just disrespectful. This is about to be 20 minutes, so I'm gonna finish this up before it gets like iCloud storage full. But yeah, that's just like a collective of reasons why I got upset. Obviously stuff to do with my positioning in terms of where I'm going, ideas, career, future, money, passion, stuff like that. and obviously stuff to do with my household problems now, what I'm going through, arguments, conflict, stuff like that, and then obviously stuff to do with my dad. They're the three pinnacles, with obviously a lot of little things that branch out that add to this feeling of upsetting emotions. But I'm gonna end it here because I'm blitzing through this last minute because I don't want iCloud storage to cut out and I get into another conversation. And then obviously I'll record another video whenever. But I'll see you guys later. Thank you for listening to me vent, rant, because this isn't really like information. This is just about my personal life. So if you watch it, I appreciate you. Have a good day, everyone.